Without further ado, let me introduce to you one of my favorite people in this business right now. I've only known Brenda for 1 year, maybe 1 year, and she's quickly become one of my favorite people in this business because, and I keep saying this even today, every single time I get on the phone with Brenda, I know there's going to be positivity on the other end. I don't know a more positive person than Brenda, truthfully speaking, and I think that's one of the big keys that she brings to both success in the career that she had before and to the quick success that she's had in real estate now. So Brenda, come on up. And it's not a coincidence that it's the first time that she's doing this because she's only been in the business for a short while. But the reason that she's sitting in front of you right now is because she's had the level of success that people don't often have even years into the business. And so we want to explore what it is that has caused that, okay? Please tell us a little bit about your life in your previous career and how it is that you started to think about transitioning to this one.
Okay, yeah. I'm probably gonna need that little Oscar music because I can go on and on forever. But what I was doing before was I was a teacher. I taught for almost 20 years. I taught high school and I loved my job. I loved it so much. I love students. I love young minds. I do feel like I bring a lot of positivity to especially teenagers who do feel a little rebellious, they feel misunderstood. I remember being that way myself. So even in the classroom, I taught English, and so I made it very relatable. I really wanted my kids to know that they did have someone on their side. I wasn't really looking for the negative or what things they didn't do well. I really focused on what are your strengths, what do you have, and let's build on that. So yeah, 20 years.
Awesome, great, good answer. And you can see already how some of that stuff is going to transition over to her real estate career. Tell me how many hours you spent, not just at school, but on the job as a teacher. I know being a teacher is one of the most demanding careers out there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it is so rewarding. And I think when you love what you do, it doesn't always feel like work, but it is a lot of work. I mean, the hours that you're in the classroom, I used to get to work at 7:30. School started at 8:15, 8:30. And that was because sometimes the kids would get there early. They didn't have anywhere to hang out, so they'd come and hang out in the classroom. And so it was that gap between the morning and then class starting. But then there's also the work that you take home. So I was grading all the time. I was doing phone calls with parents all the time. Sometimes I'd stay after to tutor certain kids. So, I mean, it's all day long. It's on the weekends. I would take all this work home thinking I'm gonna get to it, and then I had life. Like I wanted to have my weekend, but then I knew the kids would be waiting for their essays to be graded or their notebooks to be checked. So it was, I don't know, gosh, 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, it just depends.
Raise your hand, sorry to interrupt, raise your hand if you've been in the business plus 5 years, over 5 years. Okay, those of you that have been in the business over 5 years and you're hearing Brenda speak, can you see her just slotting different tasks into the lifestyle that she already has? Can you see that like I can? Right, so it's just, when I hear her talk about her being a teacher, I think to myself, those are all easily transitionable to real estate. Problem solving, all the hours involved, working on the weekends, working after you think you're done because that call's coming in. All that stuff is relatable to real estate. What you don't know yet is that Brenda's also a mom and a coach. So she has a whole other business that she runs outside of her real estate career. And at one point, she was a mom, a coach, a realtor, and a teacher. True story. I watched her do it. I would have conversations with her on the phone. We would tackle whatever issue we were having on a real estate transaction. Next thing I know, a video from her coaching is up. And I'm like, what? How? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, like how, when, how. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what schedule, how do you keep your schedule organized? How do you organize your hours? Do you break down the day? Do you do tasks by the hour? Do you have software that you use? Tell us.
Okay, I mean, I guess I'll go back to when I was still in the classroom. I left the classroom this summer. Summer 2024 is when I resigned. I was already feeling like I wanted to do something different. I started my coaching business in 2020, and I know we're gonna get to like how I became a realtor, but I am very soul aligned. So I do listen to nudges like we talked about on the YouTube video. If you haven't watched it, it's a great video. Where I talk about how sometimes you're being called to something else, and I had been teaching 15, 16 years, and I was ready for something else. I didn't know what it was. I just knew this isn't it. And I am very big on potential. I do believe that people have infinite potentiality, and it hadn't really hit me until that time where I did wonder, if I love teaching so much, why do I want more? And that's a great question to ask. And so when I started the coaching business, this was 2020, it was because my students told me that I should do it. They said, you should really be a life coach. And I didn't know what that was. They're like, you know, like Tony Robbins, and all I remember was that he came out on Shallow Hal. I wasn't really into like professional development or personal development, but because I was excited about doing this, coaching, I found the time. Somehow, I'd get off of work and then I'd start my coaching calls right after work. I was exhausted from the day, but I was excited. Then real estate came along, which we'll talk about in a bit. And so the way that I structure my day now that I'm off, I don't go into the classroom, I'm home all day long, which is what I wanted so bad. I love being home. I love having an office at home. And I think it's a taste. Like my sister, for example, is like, working from home is not the easiest thing. But I do really love being there. And so what I do is, I do have a routine that I had when I was teaching. I wake up, I make breakfast, and I jump on the treadmill. So I need to get some kind of workout in the morning. Then once my daughter's off to school is when I jump in. So I'll check the MLS and see if any clients have starred or hearted anything. I start looking at that, and I spend maybe an hour or two doing that, and I just see where that's gonna take me. Maybe I am gonna do some phone calls. Maybe I am gonna speak to the client. I structure my coaching calls around a lot of that, or vice versa. If somebody books a coaching call at 11, then I might spend from 8 to 10 doing real estate stuff at home, and then I do my coaching call, and then if I have to go show things, I go and do that, pick up my daughter from school, and continue. Like, we do our thing, and then whatever. If it's a coaching call or it's real estate related, I mean, there's 24 hours in the day. It's a lot of time. And so to me, there's times where I feel like, this is why I was doing so many things, because I always feel like I have more time. And that could be a belief, but I'll finish everything and it's 6 p.m. and I'm like, I guess we'll watch a movie, or what else could I do? What else? And so asking that kind of creates more space for you. I don't really think that coaching takes up all my time, or real estate takes up all my time, or my daughter takes up all my time. I just think I have nothing but time. That's kind of what I say all the time.
I will confirm, I can just as easily have a conversation with you at 7:30 a.m. or 8 p.m. It's always a time thing. Tell me, how did you begin to transition from teaching into real estate, first part-time, and then what triggered you to go full-time?
Yeah, real estate was very interesting because I never even thought about being a realtor. It was never ever in my life a thought. I didn't really care about it. I mean, I wanted people to buy homes for themselves, like as a personal goal, but I never thought about being a realtor. And I had a dream that I was selling real estate in my dream. And it was normal. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a realtor in my dream. And it didn't seem weird until I woke up. I was like, that was weird. But whatever, I went about my day. And then I kept like wanting to think about this weird dream. Like, why was I so confident and comfortable selling real estate in this dream? Where is this coming from? I don't get it. And so I'm like, I don't get it, God. Like, what does that even mean? And literally, I hear him say, call Sonia. Sonia's my friend. We've been friends since high school. And she's been a realtor for a very long time. She sold me my house. She probably sold the house to everybody at this table. And I called her just to tell her how weird it was, thinking that she was gonna laugh it off or whatever. And she was just like, oh my gosh, you have to do it. I'll help you. You have to do it. You would do so well. And I believed her. And so she told me how to get my license. I got the license. I'm still teaching. But again, I really believe in these soul-aligned callings. Like, if something is telling you, do this thing, don't question it. Do something. Listen to, like, what's that little voice? What is it saying to do? What's your next step? Everything will be laid out eventually. But your job is to answer it and not let fear be the thing that stops you. And I think it does stop us a lot of times. And so I asked her, like, do you think I can do it? She says, yes. I'm working. So when you're teaching, you have a prep period. I had a prep period that was like an hour plus lunch together. So that was like 2 hours of time where I was doing real estate. I would ask her, What do I need to do? She would tell me what to do, and I do it. So the transition really happened when I wasn't really doing, it was 2023, so I guess that was the hardest year in real estate. I really didn't have anything to compare it to. I just was going with, I was just excited. I'm very excitable. And I get excited about new things. And I get excited about seeing what I can accomplish. We all have a gift. We all have potential. It's in you. It may not be the same gift, but we all have it. And so I thought, well, my gift is I love people. I'm relational. I'm not afraid. I do have a little bit of courage and boldness. I also teach kids to like aim for the stars or aim for the moon or whatever, fall on the stars. And when I meet people that are aligning with this goal, I trust them. I trust them so much. So when she would tell me do these things in that prep period, I would do those things. And so that year, I did a couple of sales. Then I remember Jose, I was on a training, I think, and he was saying 2023 is hard. The rates are up, people don't want to buy, it's difficult, I get it. But 2024, that's the year. And I believed him. I mean, I've just met Jose now, but I believe that when you answer this calling, God puts the right people in the right place to say the right things that activate you. And so when he said that, I'm like, 2024 is going to be better than 2023. And so I have that belief in my mind. And then we had a listing in May, I think, and Ernesto was there as the lender on site. And it was an amazing open house. We wanted it to be this mega open house. We had so many people show up to this open house. I was so proud of it. I was so excited about it. And when he's helping me pick up the signs, I don't know how we got into the conversation about my job. And I said something to the effect of like, I really want to quit. I really want to quit. I want to do this full time. I know I could do so well. And he said to me, honestly, I don't say this too often, but if there's anyone that can quit their job and be successful, it's you. And I believed him. And he said, you remind me a lot of Gavin, which I had heard of, and I had seen him do things, and we had seen each other at events. I know that he's someone who's doing so well, and I believe this. You know, I believe what he's saying. And so that summer, I quit. I went into the classroom and I quit.
I had no idea she was going to say that, by the way. Wow. I'm honored from that memory. Let's talk on a related topic. Mentorship. Mentorship and the skills that you derive from it. I know that it's obvious in what you're saying right now that you're good at taking directions and believing in yourself as you move forward. But what's the nitty-gritty that you learned from the mentors, from the Jose's, the Sonias, who is an incredible leader just from personal experience? What nitty-gritty skills did you learn from your mentors that are helping you today?
You must have a mentor. Like, I forget your name, but like, we don't know everything. She's so right. Even though I was like, excuse you, but yeah, you're so right? We don't know everything. And mentorship to me, whether it's free or paid, is so essential to your growth. I mean, I was telling one of my friends the other day, if you have a son that you see their soccer potential, the first thing you're gonna do is get him a coach or a mentor to take him to the next level. We never stop learning, we never stop growing. So for me, I love mentorship. I love smart people. I love bold people. I'm very drawn to it. Like my mind needs that, like teach me something. So I learned from Sonia so many amazing things. I couldn't have a better mentor. There's a bunch of things besides just being so fun and I love her, but one is she leads with her heart. And to me, that's so important. She's heart-led. You know, it's the client over herself. What is in the best interest of the client? And people can feel that. And I very much align with that, but seeing her execute it makes you want to do it even more. Because yeah, initially, you know, you get your commission and you kind of want it for yourself. You're just like, oh my gosh. But it's like, if the client needs this, let's do it. If the client needs that, let's do that. And it's not to say that you put yourself to the side, but you're of service. You know, your heart is in it. And that's a lifelong person that you'll have in your life. Another thing is she's very much of excellence. She scrutinizes my RPAs, like, you missed this little date. And I appreciate that. It's like the way that we present ourselves is gonna go a long way. And I want to say 80-90% of other agents that I've, selling agents always say, your stuff is so neat and it's so clean, and I really admire that and I really respect that. That's what she's taught me. Be of excellence, clean in everything that you do, squeaky clean. And then integrity. She is so by the book. Like, we are not withholding information from our client. We are not hiding anything. Yeah, if there's a hole in the ceiling and it's patched up, we need to tell them there is a hole in the ceiling. If the thing falls apart, it falls apart. Integrity. I mean, to me, there are things that we know, but we don't realize how far they go. And I think these are things that you can only learn from a mentor, because they're reminding you that it just becomes a part of you.
Excellent answer to that question. Thank you very, very much, Brenda. I appreciate all of your time. I hope everybody got a little bit out of that. That's the great beginning that we wanted to present. And I think she did a great job presenting. Thank you very much. Okay, Jose and I are going to co-introduce this next speaker because we both know him differently. But I think what I want you to know from my perspective on Gavin is that Gavin is not your average realtor, and he's still having massive success. Keep that in mind. If you think that you are outside of the box as a realtor or in this business, and you're thinking that that's going to work against you somehow, I knew after we closed our first deal with Gavin, we sat down and had a celebratory beer at the time. Gavin doesn't drink anymore, by the way, boring. I knew in that moment, he asked me, he's like, how do you think I'm going to do? And I'm like, you're going to do great. You're going to kill it. And sure enough, 5-6 years down the road, he is killing it. Today, he is not. Let's talk a little bit, Gavin, about what you were doing before you came into real estate. Gavin Plotkin, by the way. What were you doing before you came into real estate?
So before I came into real estate, I was a warehouse order selector. So I'm pretty sure they deliver here, but I would pack these, these pallets with food that each restaurant or country club or school wanted to, order for their clients, for their people. So that's what I did before. Absolutely hated it, but that's what led me here. That was what kind of pushed me to jumping into real estate.
And how did you hear about the real estate game? Who brought you in?
So I don't even know how I heard of it. Honestly, I think I just was like, I need to make more money. I need to get the fuck out of here. And so that was what really pushed me. And the person I was dating at the time knew Jose and Vanessa. And so that's how I got introduced to them and met them, and at that time, I think I wanted to do like a million things. I wanted to be like a rapper, and I wanted to fucking, be a part-time skateboarder and sell houses.
We have your music.
Adrian heard it too. Adrian's doing way better with that than me.
I want to reiterate that you're obviously not looking at your typical realtor, right? That's obvious right from the jump. Okay, so keep that in mind, please. How did you manage a transition into real estate? Okay, now you've heard about the real estate game. Somehow you've connected with Jose and Vanessa, and then you went from doing what you were doing to real estate now. How did that come about?
I think I just, I don't know if I'm answering correctly, but I think I just had a meet with them. They kind of, it wasn't the kind of interview I was expecting, but from there it was just like, you got to put in the work. I felt like you were somewhat on your own. And so that's what pushed me harder, but I did see what they were doing, in their business. And one day I think I saw like a bank statement, and I was like, fuck yes, I'm doing this. It was, yeah, they're like business bank statement. It was in the back office at the Badillo one, and I was like, holy shit. So I was like, there's proof right here, so.
One of Jose's bank statements? So, again, there's a difference. Brenda, motivated by my words and Sonia's words. Gavin, bank statement. Okay, let's talk. One of your greatest sources of business is social media, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
And tell me about what you do with social media, more specifically the vibe that you're trying to put out with social media.
So social media, that was something that, my mentor, I'd still call Jose my mentor, Vanessa my mentor, but Jose was the one that made me post a lot when I first got into the industry. Yeah, I absolutely hated it, but because I'm still very private, other than the occasional post I'll put up. But, I think after, sorry, losing my train of thought. But I would just post a lot, and then eventually I realized, I started seeing other people in the industry doing successful, whether they were in our company or not. And I realized I could do a lot more with this. I could start being more of myself, and I could show that through social media. But also I can sculpt this the way that I want to. I've always been very artistic, so for me, the way people portray me on social media, I wanted them to see who I really was. So at first I was, like suit and tie and this, and then when they meet me, I'm like, I'm totally not that person. But after a while, I was like, you know what, I could be whoever I want. I'm gonna attract who I want. And then when I meet with these people, they're gonna see exactly what they've seen, on social media. So that's been the biggest source of income for me, is social media overall. Other than that, I think door knocking, the regular stuff, cold calling, that just helped me get better with my scripts and the way that I molded my scripts to my clients.
Explain though the vibe that you go for on social media. I can tell you the vibe in one word.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it's Long Beach, because you could think Long Beach and think Snoop Dogg, but you could think Long Beach and think skateboarding and the beach, and that's totally my vibe. I snowboard, I skateboard, not as much anymore, but I play hockey. So Long Beach to me is like, it's a big melting pot of all these different people from different walks of life. And that's kind of what I've tried to portray on social media. I don't know if that answers it.
Yeah, that's exactly what answers it in many words. My one word to describe your vibe is Gavin. It sounds funny, but it is. It's what you see on social media is the same guy that you're seeing up here. Even the music that he chooses for the videos that he puts out is Gavin. Yeah. He's not trying to do the impressing thing, which is weird to say, because a lot of us like throw video out there and we're like trying to put, I don't know how to explain it, but the perfect picture of the perfect real estate transaction, the perfect opening, the perfect closing. We had a little conversation about this at his office, and Gavin's not interested in any of that. He wants to know, like, here's my happy time. Here's how you can be part of my happy time. And there's so much power in that. I envy it, to be honest. Whether you know it or not, and maybe because he's so chill and laid back, Gavin is at this very moment probably as uncomfortable as I've ever seen him. Yeah. True? Okay. Yeah. What did you learn here that you didn't have to do in your previous job that have made you uncomfortable, but like you can look back on it now and say, kind of take it for granted?
So I had to learn how to really talk to people, and I think somewhat like I've always been partially a people pleaser, which has helped me. But I was in the food industry a lot of my life, through my different jobs. So it was completely different, I wasn't even like a waiter. I think I was like a dishwasher at one job. And so I was always in the back, kind of behind the scenes. So I've always tended to be that way about everything. But this kind of pushed me into being uncomfortable, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, like, I've never wanted to be told what to do. And so for me, you have to do the things that you don't want to do the things you do want to do. And that's kind of what pushed me to.
He's doing us a big favor by sitting up here. So I want you to know I appreciate that very much. But also, it's not the only thing that's made him uncomfortable about real estate. Like, speaking in front of people is one thing, but tell me other things that you've had to learn that have made you uncomfortable as part of your real estate journey. Would you say that putting yourself out on social media is one of the tougher things about it, or was one of the tougher things about it at first?
Yeah, it definitely was at first. I still don't like posting videos of me talking or anything. I'm very judgmental of myself. So I try to at least put pretty things up that people can look at, houses and whatever, anything else, the stuff I do throughout the day and throughout the week, and things that I enjoy. And that's kind of what helped me, build it.
You moved from being, I don't want to say just a realtor, but you've now started the transition into investing and doing some flips, right? Give me a couple, please, of the lessons that you've learned now as what is it, your second or third? I helped Gavin buy his first investment property, right? and he held on to that for what, like 3-4 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And then what happened?
And then I did a 1031 and got a better property, probably 3 times the price in Long Beach, closer to me. I did get tired of, well, I never visited the property. I just had a property manager out there in 29 Palms. It was doing really good. I got it. I was basically like breaking even. Ended up, making like a couple grand a month after that. But realized, okay, well, if I want to stay in my area, I'm going to focus and, I need to get better properties. And so the goal is now to transform the one that I just got into a triplex.
That first property he bought was $325,000.
I think it was cheaper. I think it was like $250 when I got it out there as a triplex.
Anyways, I was like, yeah, man, as a first property, it sounds great, because there was a plus side to it for the little money that Gavin had at the time. But he took the leap. He took the big leap, and he bought that property. Now he 1031'd it into this property that he's going to make into a 3-unit property. So there is progression to it. You've also done flips by now.
Yeah.
Is flipping your favorite thing?
Not recently. I absolutely hate flipping right now. I've taken some big L's, So what I realize is I'm very. I just kind of jump into things, and I'm like, I want to see the best in it. So I'm like, okay, if I see this property potentially selling at this price, I'll jump on it. But you have to take much more calculated risk, and that's what I realize that I need to do now is kind of put a halt on it, and stop and just kind of, just be smarter about the way I do flips, just so I'm not stressing out. Because some people are okay with it, but for me, I do not want to stress over, over something like that and take from, my business and the energy that I'm putting into it.
Yeah, and that's a valid way to move forward. I mean, a lot of times we hear about flipping, and how it's the next thing, and then you go buy property after that, etc. There are different ways to do things, number one, but number two, if you notice, Gavin's like in an evolutionary period of his investing. They had the one property, moved over to his next property, which situates him much better, and he's decided at this point that flipping may not be the thing that he thought it was maybe a year ago. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I'd say when the rates were lower, I think almost every flip you bought made sense at that time.
But for the moment, it's not your thing. Yeah. And that's totally fair. That's totally fair. That's part of the evolution. Is part of what we're trying to present for you today is the evolution of, a year from now he may have 10, 20 flips going. I really don't know. But I know that he is where he is right now, and he's at peace with where he is right now. Tell me now, okay, as an investor now in property, you're a landlord. What are the lessons you're starting to learn as a landlord, or you have learned over the past few years as a landlord?
It's good to have, LLCs set up, for your properties, definitely S corps as well, and just having the right financial advisors by your side to manage everything you have going on. Because, as you grow in the business, you're going to start flipping, you're going to start getting rental properties, and, having your personal stuff going on, whatever that may be.
So structured.
Yeah. So you're going to want to be structured. And I like to take care of my properties. So that was another reason why I transferred closer to where I'm at, is I really like to keep up with it. The property managers, they're good. Sometimes they don't tell you exactly what needs to be done. If you like them to look nice and clean and you want to maximize your rents.
If you were to see how Gavin remodels his properties, you would see Gavin just like today. That's how big his personality is, as chill as he is. Gavin, thank you very much, brother. I know it was uncomfortable. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Edgar, my first question to you is, have you renewed your real estate license ever?
I'm in the process right now. So I turned 4 years in July.
This is, when we talk about evolutions, Edgar's has been relatively fast. So what I want you to keep in mind as we go in. Edgar, I'm sorry, did we say your age?
24.
24 years
Yeah, I turned 25 in August, so.
Impressive, or what the hell? When I saw his numbers, I was like, my God. All right. Talk a little bit, please, if you would, about what you were doing. This is also impressive, by the way. What you were doing prior to coming into real estate.
So before after I graduated 2018, I had gone to college, was there for 2 semesters. I I was like, you know, this is not for me. And after I started working, you could say as a handyman, right? And my mom, she's been in real estate for about 20 years. She owns an escrow company, so she would always tell me, like, just give it a try. You know, they make good money, you'll like it. You know, like you have a little bit more free time, just give it a shot. So then I got my license, and then I was part-time for 6 months, and I just went full on about 2021. So that's what I was doing before I had gone full-time real estate.
But by the way, you know, I'm stressing over and over. Hopefully, you get the message. Edgar's not up here for like the wow factor. I am. It's easy to be wowed by Edgar, but Edgar, what I want to know, because I'm the nerd up here. Jose's more. You know, let's have a good time. I'm much more about the details. I want to have Edgar up here because I want to know how the hell you did it. I really do. And then I want to see if the people in the audience can begin to copy some of those things that you did so that they can improve their careers. That's why he's up here. It is a wild thing for sure, but not the reason he's sitting here right now. Tell me, how long did it take you to transition from what you were doing into real estate? Because you were also a part-time agent, correct?
Yeah, so when I first started, the first 6 months, as soon as I got into the office, the guy that I started working for, I got them right away, like, dude, start cold calling. Like, that's the only way you're gonna get better at what you're doing, you know? So as soon as I got there, I started calling right away. So my schedule was pretty much, my other job was I would go in at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, because I wanted to be early at the office, so it gave me time to cold call. I would go in at about 5, 6 in the morning, get home, you know, get ready, get to the office by 5. From 5 to 8, I was just hitting the phones. Monday to Friday, and then over the weekend, I was just either shadowing at open houses, going to showings, just trying to get my foot out there. And then about 3 weeks in, I got a listing out of the cold calling, and I was like, okay, you know, it's good. Like, you know, he like down the line, we closed it about a month and a half in, and I was like, okay, I like this. So once I got a few deals under my belt, I was like, okay, I want to go full time, but where do I start? So I was under a team. He showed me a lot. So I was like, okay, I think this is good, and we went full time. And when I went full time, it was kind of like a shaky moment. We had just moved out. Me and my wife had just moved out. It was just like, okay, let's give it a shot, you know. But since we seen how it was working for us, it was just, okay, let's take the leap of faith and let's see where it takes us. So that's where we had ended up.
Go over one more time. Your hours were, you would get up at what time?
About 5 to 6 in the morning. I would arrive, I would, like, you say check in, I would get to the buildings. I would leave about 3 p.m., make it home, and I would drive from, a lot of the buildings that I would work at were in downtown LA, so I would drive from downtown to La Puente and then from La Puente to Norwalk. So, and my goal was to be at the office by 5, so I would calculate, like, okay, this is where I'm working at today, this is gonna be my drive. I would go in depending on where I had to work, so I could make it at the office by 5.
And your weekends? Tell me about what did you do on the weekend?
So Saturdays I would cold call, same thing. So if we had open houses, I would go to the open houses. Just wanted to learn how to talk to the people. Just my biggest thing was just learning everything that it was gonna take to be able to get, you know, to be able to start having clientele. So I would do open house on the weekend. We would go in, open houses don't start till 12. So I would go in about 8, 9 in the morning, get flyers ready. I would do follow-ups, and then from there I would go ahead and go to the open houses. I would be done maybe about 4 p.m. And then I was just pretty much working from Monday to Sunday.
I think we're skipping over a very important detail too. How soon after you decided to go full-time did you find out there was a baby on the way?
I think it was pretty, I want to say like a month after I had gone full-time, we had found out we were pregnant for my son. So then that was another thing that kind of, like, I got to do it, you know, like we have a baby on the way. We were living on our own. Like, it's like, okay, now we have a lot of stuff on our plate, so I really got to get to it. So that also really pushed me as well.
Urgency. I don't know of anything that'll make your life more urgent than a baby. So you what systems, and like, if we can, please, and Jose, please stop me if you feel I'm being too boring here. But what system do you use on a daily basis to support your business? The actual, you know, I'm talking CRMs, I'm talking calendars, I'm talking, you know, software.
So now, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it is obviously in the systems and the people behind that work with me. I have, with my wife, the TC, I have a VA that helps me out. The VA is doing a lot of the follow-ups. I'm more out in the field. Like right now, if you ask me about an escrow, I have to ask my wife because she's the one that will let me know like what's going on. I always tell her like, hey, I much rather go out there and get the business, and then like obviously I'll step in if I need to get involved. But a lot, like I use Monday as a CRM. I'm transitioning into what's called the Monday. I'm using Follow Up Boss as like a pond. So I set it up so that when people call me off of my listing signs, it goes into the database. Because what would happen is it would go on my phone and I would never input it into my database, and I would lose a lot of clients. So now I have it set up so that they call, it goes into the database, and then now the VA just could follow up with it, right? So that also has helped me out. I'm using those two systems, the VAs, and then a lot of it as well is just like the day before, I'll write down what I have to do for the next day so I don't forget what has to be done.
Can you outline what those 3 things are for you?
So last year I didn't close a deal. It wasn't, out of all those deals I closed, there were like just partnerships or SOI or open houses. I think the last online deal I had closed was back in 2023. So a lot of the business is just a lot of SOI, and that's another thing that, like, I'm really big on my partnerships. Like they've always told me just have 3 things that are going to feed your business and really focus on those things. So that's what I've done, and there's nothing wrong with online leads; they're really good. But I've always just I like to do things on my own. So I've always just, okay, this is what's going to help me out. Just go do those 3 things and just be really good at them, nurture them, do what you have to do so that could go ahead and feed your clientele.
Can you outline what those 3 things are for you?
So open house, SOI, and then I door knock as well, and then partnerships. So I have partnership with investors, and that's where I get also listings. And obviously out of those listings, it funnels buyers and more deals.
So understanding that you're closing a lot of transactions, have closed a lot of transactions. I don't know if you guys can see his stats from 2024, but they're impressive. You're still newer. You're still on the newer side. What parts of real estate make you uncomfortable? Any parts?
Being up here, I mean, I'm very shy. I'm very shy. Like that's something that I've gotten better at. Like obviously, I gotta be at open houses. I gotta talk to people I don't know, and I've always been very quiet. But I mean, obviously, if I want to do good, I have to get out of my comfort zone. So, like, obviously, talking to people, door knocking, I hated door knocking. And my partner, Yoni, he's like, hey, do you want to try door knocking? I was like, I hate that shit, but let's give it a try. You know, like, it's worth it. Let's try it. So I've been getting myself out there. And the way I see it, it's like if I talk to people over the phone and they don't know who I am, same thing, I could just go knock and it's a little bit easier, you know? So I think the biggest thing has been getting out of my comfort zone. That has really helped me out, like to get out there. And then now I'm realizing I really got to have systems in place.
As we were starting to introduce you, Jose said that he thought that you're the secret to your success, or one of them is definitely your morning routine. Brenda had a similar, like a morning routine that she follows as well. What is your morning routine? You get up at 5 and do what?
So I'm usually up by like 4:30. I'll make it to the gym by 5. And a lot of this I'll make it to the gym by 5. I'm home by like 6:30. I'll do my journaling. I'll read my books, and then by then I gotta get ready, get my kids ready, go drop them off. A lot of it also played out because I gotta be up before my kids. If not, like by the time I get them ready, and I try to do all this, it's gonna be too late, so it kills too much time of like the work day. But yeah, that's and that routine has really helped me out. I think that's been a game changer for me.
So 4:30 a.m. start.
So one that I read every day, it's just one page a day. It's a daily Stoic. Right now I'm reading John Maxwell books. Right now Failing Forward. So I mean those are 2 that I read, and then I just started another one called The Worthy.
Can we transition over to your flips now and your investment?
Yeah, so I just started investing ending of last year. We're already a couple flips in. It's something I always wanted to do. Like I know a lot of people get into real estate and they're like, oh, it's because I want to do the flipping. I want to do the flipping. I think for me, luckily, I'm glad it's not that we took it now. It was just kind of like, it was just like a done deal on my first flip. So it helped me because everybody's like, okay, it's always a pretty picture of they're making the money. It's, you know, they're flipping houses, converting the neighborhood, you know, whatever they say. It was a nice house, but I think after that, I learned the lesson of like, it's not just like the spread that you have, it's also like the time of the market, the house itself, like there's a lot more that comes into it. But I'm, you know, now we're doing that, like I said, I have partners. Like now that we come up with, or like deals come across us, it's just a lot being more conservative. But I think we're probably like 8, 9 flips in, I want to say. Do
you mind explaining to us a little bit, just brief overview? How do you analyze your flips? Or are you even the person that does the analysis?
Yeah, it'll be me and my partner. We'll underwrite the deals. But now I think we just always like to go with like the worst case scenarios. Like I like to be conservative with my numbers, and anything on top is a cherry on top. Like even if I have comps that are going to show the house is going to sell at $700,000, and I still have a few comps, like let's just say at 675, I'll always go with the worst case scenario. And then if anything else on top, we get a 700, 725. Whatever it is, it's just a cherry on top, but I like to always go with my worst case scenario.
Did you, and you had to learn that lesson the hard way after that first L?
But yeah, I mean, so when I had started with the partnership with the investors, they would ask me like, hey, can you comp it? You know, let me know. So one thing that like when they would tell me, I would always give them that because I never wanted to be responsible. Like, hey, this guy told me it was worth this much. I lost this much money. So I was always being conservative with my numbers. So now when I had gotten into it, I was like, okay, well, I still got to do it because it's, you know, it's my money as well. So I got to be careful with my ARV. So I think I've always just been conservative because I don't think anybody likes to lose money. It's bound to happen, but I think I learned to be conservative after that deal as well.
And if you had to say, like, what's your biggest lesson that you learned from each one of those?
Honestly, it's just systems. Like you end up realizing, like once you start looking back and analyzing at things, like all these people have systems in place that is why their business is able to scale. And that's where I'm trying to, like, that's where I'm obviously like working on it because eventually I do want to grow a team. I want to have agents under me, but I don't want to have people under me and it's a mess. So my biggest thing is always working on systems. I think something I've learned in like everybody that's doing really good numbers, that's producing, that's flipping at a large amount, they all have systems in place. Like that's really all it is. So it's just about getting a firm foundation and then from there just being able to scale.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Hang out there for a second. We're going to put the chairs back up. Then we're going to bring our speakers up for a minute so that we can have some Q&A from all of you guys, okay?
Of that, you know, with being so young and just getting on the phones and having that discipline.
Honestly, I think it was just like being able to put my head down. So I was always taking a lot of notes, like anything that would help me out, I would take it in and make it my own. So I think that was always a big thing. And then when I would be driving, I would be practicing like my scripts. So that really helped me out. So by the time I would hit the phones, it was like, okay, it's already there. It was just more like preparation and practice. And that has really helped me out. Once I'm able to do it, like it just comes out like, I know what I'm doing, you know? So I think it was just a lot of practice and preparation.
And I'm sure that along the way you felt like, or I don't know if this happened, but you did have to maybe sometimes stumble, right? Maybe you didn't always have the answers. Maybe sometimes you felt like, oh my gosh, did I not sound knowledgeable? Did you feel those feelings and you went through them anyway, or how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, if I ever come across something I don't know, I'll be honest with the clients, and I think the client appreciates that more. So I'll let them know, hey, I don't have the answer, just give me a second, and then confirm because I don't want to disappoint. And I would just ask either my mom or just people that I work with, hey, I have this question, what's the answer? And I would just get back to them, hey, okay, this is what I found out, and I'll let them know. So I was always upfront, like I wouldn't tell them, oh yeah, you know, this is how you do it. Like I always like to get that information and then let them know, and I think that's helped me out because it gets to a point where it's like, there's only so many things they could ask of you, so you kind of start getting like used to what they're gonna start asking, you know? But,
Jose,
Perfect.
Jose, let me have the mic. Let's give it to them so that everybody can hear what they're saying, and then I'll repeat the questions.
Go ahead.
As they go.
Give my hand, guys.
I got here late, so I'm sorry, but thank you guys for being here and giving up your time, and I know that you being there and speaking about it, right? We talk about systems. I always talk about systems and acronyms. Save yourself some time, energy, money, and stress. What systems are those for you that you use, and how do you use them, right? It's gonna be kind of like a 2 to 3 part. Kind of what system do you value the most for your business? Which one helps your business the most? And how do you use that system in your business on a daily basis?
So I think now what I'm doing a lot more, so I had a healthy problem is I didn't really have any systems in place, and then I got like really busy and I was kind of all over the place, right? So now what I'm trying to do is like I want to have, as soon as I get a listing, I want to have that system in place where I upload it. And it's like, okay, my TC gets notified, my assistant gets notified, the seller get notified, and everything's in place, right? So I'm right now I'm systemizing like my buyers, the sellers, the flips. I want to have everything systemized, like to when I input something, it already sends out like the automated emails, and we already know what we have to do, and have a checklist to make sure that it's done in the order it's supposed to be, so that when we open escrow, we already have the documents like disclosures, avids, and all that ready. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're doing this all through Follow Up Boss
And Monday.
and Monday.
Monday's here on.
Monday's another share.
Yeah.
So you incorporate both Follow Up Boss and Monday?
So Follow Up Boss is more like a pawn, like all my open house leads, that's where they're like I have a sign-in sheet on the iPad, and as soon as they scan it and they put the information, it goes into Follow Boss, and that actually flags them as a like fake email, fake number, so it helps out. And then we'll have the VA call them, prospect them, and until they're a good lead, they'll let us know, hey, they're ready to go. We'll import them. The goal is to import them into Monday, and then from there, and that's when we get them pre-approved. We set them up on like the campaign that we have for them.
What do you like on Monday versus Follow Boss that you're using too?
So for Follow Boss, and honestly, it has a lot. Like you can integrate it with your Gmail with a lot of things. Monday, I'm fairly new. I'm barely getting on it, so I can't tell you like, hey, this is what it has. I know it has like they have so many integrations, but based on like the reviews and stuff that we've been doing our research on it, it's gonna be able to like I could make them work together. So where if I just said click the button on Follow Boss, it will transfer it to Monday, and vice versa, and it notifies everybody. You can text blast, you can email blast, you can. I mean, it has a lot of features.
Brenda, can you answer the same question?
Yeah, I guess our system is Asana, so everything, when we have a new client, everything that needs to get done is on there so that we don't forget with the due dates. And so we just kind of, do you guys know what Asana is? It's like an organized, like a, what would you call it?
Like you upload the project and then you can assign.
Yeah, it's like
this
project.
It's a project management.
Yeah, it's a project manager, so everything is on there with the due dates, so we know what we have to do, when we have to do it. We also have a TC, and then Ale is exceedingly helpful with a lot of the stuff that needs to get done. And my CRM, which I look at every single day.
Which
Yes.
CRM do you use?
We use Buffini. Yeah, we love it.
And Gavin, you want to give that the answer? I know that Gavin's a big calendar person.
I'm probably not the person you want to ask about that.
No, you are, because I want people to see there's different ways to get it done.
I'm very like old school pen and paper. I write notes on my phone. I do use the Sierra Interactive like CRM, but yeah, I'm organized, but I don't have a whole system in place and structure. I just I can't shut off my brain. So I'm always thinking like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to, so I tend to write stuff in every different area that I can to remember, if I'm on the road or I'm gonna check my phone, I know what I have to do on my phone, or if I have, my laptop on me, then I have my planner in there usually. So it just looks like a bunch of chicken scratch.
But that's
But it's
what I'm trying to say.
working.
The reason I wanted all three to answer that question is because, again, there are different ways to reach success. I've known Centurion level producers out of C21, one in particular that stands out in my mind. She did it for a long time. It was all napkins and papers and this and that and whatever. And she was still always one of the top producers out of one of the biggest C21s in, I want to say in SoCal. Never missed it. I was always trying to push her to go CRM. She never would.
I have a question for Brenda and Edgar. Just because you're the most recent part-time to full-time agent, was there like a financial number or income that you had to earn before you gave your notice, or was it a decision? And I know you guys both kind of shared already, but did you guys have to save up a certain number before you gave your notice, or was it, I'm all in, I have to do this, I believe that it's gonna pay off? Ladies first.
Yeah, I actually was ready to quit even before I guess I was ready, because again, the nudges and I can't shake it and it's not going away and I want to do it and I want to do it and I want to do it. And so, I mean, I had a savings, but I wasn't like, I didn't have a number in mind. And again, there were people that I really value their opinion who said at least have 1 year salary. And I like that concept because then there's no thirsty energy when you're out there trying to like get by, right? You don't look like, please buy for me. You're just like, I'm okay financially, and you can just be natural and be yourself and build relationship and not, seem like you're attacking everybody. So I saved up 1 year of my teaching salary. And once that was it, I mean, I think it was kind of close and maybe I didn't even reach it, but I was just like, I'm ready. And then I just knew like the rest will come and it did.
Yeah, no, for me, I just wanted to do it, bro. I mean, we had some savings, but it was like, let's do it. But yeah, I didn't really have like a particular number I wanted to have saved, and then we'll do it. It was just more like, all right, I'm ready, let's do it, and I just went all in.
And Edgar, since your wife is in the room, what did your wife think about that?
I mean, she's always stressed out. I mean, Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We balance each other out because if it was for me, like I'd be on the go doing, and she's like, no, dude, like, you know, she's more analytical, so it helps me out.
That's fair too. Gavin?
I thought it was just for them. Yeah, when I did the transition, I think it was probably when I got licensed to becoming full-time was about a year. I think I saved like probably a year of bills, not really salary. It was just like, all right, this is gonna get me by because I just couldn't take it anymore. So I'm kind of, I guess, in the middle of both of you. It's kind of.
I have a question. There's a few new agents here in the room, or how long after you started in the business, for all three of you, did you close your first transaction? Gavin, go for it, Gavin. You have the mic. Do you remember?
Like 4 months.
Okay.
I think it was like 4 months. It was a open house that I hosted, and it was a seller looking to buy. So
Riverside.
yeah, Riverside. You remember that?
Yeah, we celebrated that one.
Yeah.
Edgar?
I must say like a month and a half in. Yeah.
It was also an open house for me, and I want to say it was maybe like 5 or 6 months, 4, 5 or 6 months. Yeah. Oh, and I was so happy. I was like, oh, somebody said yes to me.
Any more questions, guys?
I have a question. Edgar, you said like partnerships. So what do you mean by that? Like, do you collab with people, or what did you mean by that? Like,
Yeah,
Vanessa's asking Edgar, what did he mean by when he said partnerships? He uses partnerships to get business sometimes.
Yeah, I work with investors, so I'll get listings, and then out of those listings, I'm able to filter them out to be able to get like buyers and more leads out of that. Yeah.
Good question. Yes, sir.
It's very inspiring how three of you guys, how successful you are. I'm a lender, so I wanted to ask this. What is your qualifications as choosing a lender? And if so, do you have any opening?
Good on you, bro.
And this was my guy.
My wife is a lender.
Hey, but listen, did it take balls to ask that question right here in front of everybody?
But I do want to give you an answer, at least for me. What I think separates Ernesto from a lot of lenders that I have met is he's exceedingly responsive. And there is not a lot of wait time, which I know he's super busy and everybody's busy, but I know I can count on him. I also know that he will do whatever it takes for my buyer. There's one thing that really stands out to me that we all kind of respect and admire is we had a transaction that was a condo, and we were not going to be able to get this condo because there was some like lawsuit on it. And at that point, someone had said, there's this other lender that can get it to close. And he was willing. I don't think you had to in the end, but he was willing to pass that client on to whoever else for the sake of the client. That's very admirable.
And the one with no kitchen.
We had another one that wasn't gonna pass the underwriting because it was missing it was a big hole in the kitchen. And we're like, what's the big deal? We're gonna fix it. But yeah, underwriting didn't really like that. He made it happen.
I love it. It's all much fun.
I'm a broker, is there a broker? I'm kidding. That's it. I'm kidding. So my question is, as you're growing the business, as challenges open up, some bottlenecks, challenges that happen in your business that held you at a certain production level, what were you able to do to overcome that, and what got you to that next level of production that you can share with us?
So pretty much what is it that we've done to be able to like?
Yeah, what challenges you had to overcome when you were like probably 10 transactions?
Edgar, have you hit a plateau? Have you felt yourself hitting God, how do I get past this level of production yet?
Not really, just because I've always been somebody that like, okay, now what can I do next? What can I do next? How can I do more? So I think that's really helped me out. But I think maybe my first 2 years, I mean, instead of the fact that I was like something that really, that I always need to remind myself is I'm still young, like I still have a long ways to go, so just learn as much as you can. But I think what really has helped me out is just being around the right people, because they're gonna be able to show you things that they've gone, so that we could kind of not take the shortcut, but like just, hey, okay, this is how you do it, and it'll give us a leap to be able to get to where we want to go.
Also, and I'm still way too new to have like the bottleneck or whatever, but I will say that the mindset is important, and not putting all your eggs in one basket. So even if I have a client, I'm still continuously filling up my basket. My basket is full of eggs, and at any given day, or seeds is the way I like to call it. So yeah, you plant the seeds and you continue to water the seeds, and even while something is going so great, you don't forget about these people. So I believe that if you continue to believe that and do that, and I also believe in compounding. When I have one client, I just assume I'm gonna get another one, like 2 are gonna come, and then 4, 6, 8. I really strongly believe that, and so I'm constantly making sure, like, I'm excited about this one, but whoa, there's 8 people here, there's 10 people here. So I think the biggest thing is don't put all your eggs, or what is the expression? Yeah, just plant one seed, right? Like continuously planting seeds, nurturing, and then knowing when to like, okay, we're gonna jump in now. So that there isn't those plateaus. Like this whole thing, I don't really subscribe, and you have a lot of control over that.
And it's one of the things that Gavin actually said to me very recently is you have to do the things that generate the conversations that lead to business all the time.
Any other questions in the audience, guys? Well, please.
What do you do with those leads? I know not everyone is qualified, and there's like leads that don't really work, or there's things people how do you handle stress about those leads?
Gavin, that question is for you.
The question is, how do you handle the stress of all the leads that come in and having to tell those people right now, or I'm sorry?
Or how to just like,
How do you manage?
Oh, I see. How do you manage the flow of leads? What do you use to manage the flow of leads?
I just, honestly, sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just start responding to everyone and see who's really serious or not. Sometimes they won't respond for a while. There's been times I dropped the ball and didn't respond to someone, and I'm like, oh shit, some of them panned out still, some didn't. But I really just, you just have to respond and have to see how serious they are, because there's a lot of, just like open houses, there's a lot of looky-loos, and they might reach out, and then you reach out back out to them and they never respond. I just kind of try to see how I could be of service to them, and if it works out, it works out. I don't know if that helps. Hopefully it helps.
I think one thing is just treat all the leads the same, no matter if they're going to buy in 3 months, 1 week, or 6 months. I've gotten deals that I followed for 2 years, and I've gotten ones that I made at an open house, and by next week we're already home shopping. So I think just treat everybody the same, and then just make sure you follow up with everybody. We've all lost deals, but yeah, just make sure you have a system to be able to or a CRM to be able to keep track of everything.
Yeah, I assume everyone's a buyer. So everyone that reaches out on social media, which is same, it's the bulk of it does come from social media, because my audience is a lot of my alumni. So my kids that I taught, they're young adults now. And so I will send everyone to Ernesto. And it might be like $150,000 approval, but I just assume that they'll get qualified. So I send them over, he tells me they're ready, not ready, give it time. But always assume that if not today, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, maybe 2 years. To me, no one is greater than the other. They're all leads, they all want this, and they want me. So I'm gonna take it.
I have a last question, if you guys don't mind, for all three. We'll start with Brenda. Where do you see yourself in the industry and the business in the next 3 to 5 years? Your business, 3 to 5 years.
I mean, obviously growing, like I said, the compounding, right? So if I do like 10 deals, and the next one will be 20, and then it'll be 40, and it'll be 60. I also see us expanding our team. We have an amazing, amazing team. We work so well together. And I talk to people all the time who are like, oh my gosh, like, this is so great. How are you guys doing so well? And it's really the team, right? This is my sphere of influence, not in sales, but like they influence me, they impact me. And so I do see us expanding, growing the team, having a lot of systems in place that'll help with onboarding, but definitely adding more people to our group.
I think same here. Obviously, the goal is to have a team, start hiring agents to help us out with, buyers, be able to show them. I do want to start adding things. So I don't own any real estate like that. As the rental, like the buy and hold. So that's something I do want to get into.
So I'd like to have more buy and holds. I'd like to get a nicer house. I'd like to keep growing my business and my life in every way. Want to keep doing the things that I love and the hobbies that I enjoy doing that make, coming back to real estate more fun. And hopefully I could be a pro hockey player eventually.
Great job, everybody. Great job.